Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the fellas again. We're here for Bumps and Bruises podcast, a wrestling podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans. As always, we're joined by me, one of your co-hosts, Marcos, aka at the Sunset Kid 56. Of course, we're joined by I'm gonna assume is Lock Stallion here,
Yes, sir.
Shane here.
Got it.
Shane, Derek, how was your week?
Go on,
We
Shane.
holding strong over here. The entire household is fighting off sickness.
Oh man.
The trials and tribulations of being a parent and having kids that do everything on the planet, from every sport, from everything, and then coaching when I don't work in schools anymore means that I am around millions of infectious little people.
Yeah, I can imagine. What about you, D? How you living?
Week's good. Still, planning this WrestleMania trip. Got to go out there. Just getting everything set up for that. That's the biggest thing going on.
Nice. So, guys, last we left off, so we talked about Monday Night Raw. So, of course, NXT had their Tuesday branded show, which I believe what was the name of the show, guys? Can anybody look that up? Anyway, but let's just go over the Tuesday night action. So there was a couple notable matches. We had Roxanne Perez putting over Jordan Grace in what was a good match. It was kind of like whoever the staple for NXT, which Roxanne Perez has been for the last couple years, versus who's going to probably be the MVP for the women's division going forward, Jordan Grace. Did you guys take a look at the match? Did you guys have any comments, any thoughts about it?
I actually caught NXT start to finish this week, which is a big rarity for me. But
Yep.
I felt the card top to bottom was one of the better NXT shows that I've ever seen.
It felt like a black and gold pay-per-view.
It did.
It felt like a black and gold
Cool.
pay-per-view. Like it was really well done. You could tell where they're going forward. You have Roxanne Perez, putting over, who's gonna hopefully she gets elevated after Mania, putting over Jordan Grace, who's now cementing her stranglehold, what I think is gonna be for a while in NXT. And then, did you have any thoughts about that, Derek? Anything you liked about it this week?
I mean, it was a good match. My matches that I thought were really good kind of come later on in the episode. So, but it was definitely that first match was really good.
Cool. And then it was followed up by Javon Evans versus Ethan Page of the street fight. And I think this match did a real good job putting over Javon Evans as a main event player, somebody that went from a plucky, startup to like, hey, I belong here. And it was good to see him finally get his win over Ethan Page. And it's a good way to end the feud with a street fight. It was amazing. I thought, it hit all its points. Ethan Page is showing that AEW misused him. I'm not saying he's a perfect talent, but I think if he used well, he's the MVP. He came in as a cocky heel as a champ. Then he, was like, you guys need me. And then putting over somebody like Javon Evans that needed that foil, needed that heel to get over the hump. And so I think this was well done here. Later on, of course, we had what I call this match was interesting. It was Fraxium versus the Hardy Boys because I think it featured the two best in both tag team divisions. Of course, the Hardy Boys being the TNA tag champs, and then Fraxium being the NXT tag champs with the TNA tag titles on the line. I think this was a good move. Have the Hardys go over. I think if we're going to trade wins, it should be done on each TV. I think at a certain point you'll do, Hardys will beat them on TNA, and then Fraxium will beat them on NXT, and then it's like, shake hands. We're both really good. Keep it moving. And they also, I don't know if you guys, I've been watching NXT for a minute, even before it moved over to the CW. I've been trying to keep, I don't watch it live as much as I want to, but I watch it, after it's aired, on repeat on YouTube. I catch most of the matches, but it's what seems to be like almost a 2-year long tease of Fraxium breaking up that never happens. They're an amazing tag team. They're like every indie tag team in the last 20 years merged together to become their own thing. They're like amazing. If you guys haven't checked out any of their great matches, go do so. Especially the ones in the last year, 2024, they really cemented their stranglehold on the NXT division. Now, of course, the big men slapping meat, as Big E would say, it was Moose versus Oba Femi. I think the match was booked very well. Both individuals were strong. Giving Oba Femi on his home turf the clean win was the right thing to do. Number one, Moose was not the heavyweight champion in TNA, so he can afford the loss. And number two, you pushed the stakes higher when Taker came over to Obafemi backstage and was like, "This is your dog. I'm sorry, this is your yard, big dog. You got to defend it." Yeah. And I think that tied in well. And of course, the main event was Julia versus Stephanie Vancour, a title for title. Stephanie won. Now she's Stephanie champ, or Stephanie two belts, whatever you want to call her. It was an amazing moment. Hopefully the rumors of Julia having to take some time off for a nagging injury is not true. Either way, great finish to a show. They even had the pyro and everything. Like, I feel like out of Stephanie is more TV ready for the main event scene. Julia is amazing and she's ready, but I think the US fans need a little bit more because her gimmick is not as straightforward as Stephanie Vancour. Stephanie's more like a bruiser. She's coming out of that Rhea Ripley / hybrid of power, but also with grace, So what do you guys think about this, short little recap of NXT? What are your highlights that stick out from you from the matches that I didn't talk about, or that I did, and kind of you guys were waiting to chime in?
I'll jump in first. I am a huge fan of young OG. I think Javon Evans has a legitimate shot to be that next Kofi-esque guy that's coming in and works his way up. Shout out to the boys over at DPW. He was Jay Malachi when he was in DPW and was their champ over there for a while. I got to see him live a couple times down in North Carolina. Fantastic job. He's got more bounce than anybody else in wrestling I've seen in quite a while. It is fun to watch. And Moose versus Oba, absolutely fantastic. I think they did a really great job of making both strong, making both powerful, and you came away feeling like either one could have won, and it wasn't that squash match type thing that you often see in those situations.
So on my end, tag team match, Hardy Boys, you can't go wrong. You can put them with just about anybody, and they're gonna, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna do their thing. I wish that was a title versus title, just because I want to see somebody with a belt from each company just to see how that goes.
I think at a certain point is going to come about. I just think it's timing. Like previously when they did these crossovers, people wanted to see that so they can extend what is considered the crossover. But I think now that they officially announced the deal, I think this is going to always happen. Like on their taping, TNA had a taping. A couple individuals showed up from the women's division, and I think this is going full game. I do believe that you're going to get a superstar trade to where if one brand has wins a belt, I think that star is going to be on the other brand's TV show for the foreseeable future. Yeah. And then kind of like trade back and forth. You know what I mean? So, but I like what they did now. Like, I think later down the line, because I see Moose being the TNA champ again. And I think him versus Obafemi then will probably be bigger.
Who did he lose to?
Who?
Because
Moose?
I thought he still had the belt.
He has the X Division belt.
He's the X Division.
That's what it's. Okay, I was like, I thought he had a belt.
Yeah, and I definitely thought at one point that they had said it was going to be title versus title, which definitely made it weird because Oba with an X Division champ would be.
Yeah, he can't.
Way out of left field.
Moose can fly. I haven't seen him use that skill set yet. I'm not saying he doesn't have it in him, but I think I believe the X Division is what they considered not, and I don't want to insult fan like their mid card belt. But I don't, I don't think they have a lower tier belt than that. Like, you know what I mean? They don't have like like the North American title there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I could definitely see Javon Evans becoming the X Division champ, have him, face Moose later on and do like a David Goliath match, and then have Javon Evans, headline pay-per-views for TNA, and then they could probably use somebody, a returning face. Like, I want to see Matt Cardona come back, not necessarily to TNA, but have him come back to regular TV while holding a TNA title. So that way it's not like, oh, he came back. Like Zack Ryder's not back. It's like, no, Matt Cardona is here to help out his wife because they're both champs, and that'll be a cool storyline. Like, you know what I mean? So
no, for sure.
So yeah, so basically that closes out like the wrestling week. If you're a person that watches, Friday through Tuesday, and then the new week begins, or kind of So for us, the new week began with SmackDown, in which you had an amazing promo. LA Knight come out, and then you had Solo, you had Jacob, you had Jimmy, all participate in the promo, and then at the end, of course, they had Braun Strowman come in and get in the mix, which led to which is kind of like a nod to Teddy Long. We have a tag team match, player. Like, and then
6-man tag team, player.
And then you have Braun get the pin on Tama, which is the obvious choice here. But then Jacob gets put through the barricade. No, Jacob puts Braun through the barricade. But then the segment, I believe, ends with Jacob going through a table from the stage. Correct? Isn't that what happened there? And
you're remembering a week. You're remembering a week earlier.
A week. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm
so
old.
this was kind of Jacob getting the revenge by putting Braun through the barricade,
which is good. I like to see that feud. It was good to see Solo Sikoa like talk, but then like his heel, like he's still like a heel in probation with his cousins. He's kind of like yeah, I believe that the actual person to get a title shot instead of him saying himself is Jacob, and which was kind of hilarious. But I think we're gonna lead to a match between Solo, Jimmy, and LA Knight. At a certain point, I don't know if it's gonna be WrestleMania. I don't know if it's gonna be a future SmackDown. I like to see that. Then we have B-Fab versus Charlotte. Charlotte wins. She starts
I will say,
to beat
before
up
we jump into B-Fab and Charlotte,
okay,
just kind of when Solo got on the mic, this was kind of the first time that we've seen more of the personality from him and kind of that wittiness that Jay and Jimmy kind of have shown over the years.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think that was a botch? You don't think that was a verbal botch?
There definitely was a botch in that, but he also, the way he played it off and the way he bounced back from it, I think he did a good job there. Jimmy kind of got some laughter out of it. But do you think they let him show some more of that, even with the kind of microphone slip up, or do we go back to seeing that silent killer type mentality? Because I definitely liked the organic nature of him being more of himself.
For it to continue to be organic and for it to be more believable as a fan going forward, I think he continues, peeling the layers, because it's weird that he's been like all this heel that all of a sudden talks, and then all of a sudden he goes back to being a mute.
Right.
That's kind of weird. Like, like the cat is out the bag at this point. I'm interested to see how they're taking this storyline. I do think Solo Jacob is coming down the line, or we might get Solo and Jacob versus Tama Tonga and Tangaloa. There's so many ways that they can go. Like, you know what I mean? Or we could see, the GOD, the Gorillas of Destruction, which is Tama and his brother Tangaloa versus, and Jacob versus Solo Fatu versus, an incoming group. They have so many Samoans on deck that they could bring in two people. They could have in another pay-per-view be the Usos one time only with Solo, the brothers versus the family members. Like, kind of like, I regret bringing you in, like, like.
And the rumors are running rampant again of Zilla coming is imminent, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, it's like crazy. Like with him, it's like if it doesn't happen, it's like sucks. Like if he ends up appearing like on AEW or like TNA, and Like it's gonna be, because it's like, remember when everybody was like, oh, who are they talking about? I believe a couple years ago, everybody thought that Matt Cardona was going to go to AEW, and they were like, "Yeah," and then he showed up, and then he didn't sign, and then it was like, "What? What's going on?" But so, what's your take on that opening segment match, Derek?
So for me, the just the opening segment in general, like I was saying before, like Jimmy coming out talking about he's desperate, he wants this match, whoop de whoop, this, that, and the third before baby brother comes out. I feel like that's gonna be really good. I need him to just, what I'm saying, give me that bloodline vibe versus the funny vibe right now, and just start just attacking folks in the background, coming out, interrupting matches, boom. So I think that, especially if he's doing it on LA Knights matches as we lead up to Mania, that'll set that up, and it'll be perfect. And him and his brother can both have single gold by the end of WrestleMania. For me,
Isn't it also weird that we don't have a clear path for LA Knight? I like that they started this direction because it's like, I don't think the community wants to see LA Knight versus Nakamura, because they did it kind of like 4 or 5 times already. Like Nakamura has been in this space, and they kind of, like, for personal reasons, and because wrestling, the feud went stagnant. Like both of them are A1 performers. I just think nobody wants to see that pairing, at least how it is right now, unless you add some substance to it or more reasoning. But I think it's the best way to depart. Maybe, I hope this leads to a multi-man match. I'm all for a briefcase. Bring back the OG Money in the Bank, but I doubt they're going to do that, because the pay-per-view itself is so people look fond upon it, and it's kind of like the only way that we can explain a title change, like when it doesn't logically make sense. But then we got B-Fab versus Charlotte. Of course, Charlotte wins. A good showing for B-Fab, who I think we talked about it or touched upon it. It might have been in group chat or in the last pod, that I think B-Fab could do the Michin role, where she doesn't necessarily have to win all the time, but she can win when you don't expect it. Give her a little push, especially now that it appears that her partnership with Street Profits is over. They haven't been seen together in quite some time. And, kind of gives her something to do, like maybe pursue the Chelsea Green. B-Fab could be a face, lean on her Latin roots, which they kind of did, because this particular one was in Barcelona, as they said, everybody on the show. Tiffy made the save because Charlotte did the obligatory beatdown after the match. Is like, no, she's already dead, and she still wanted to get her licks in. And then Miz TV featuring Cody Rhodes, I believe, was a well done segment. But also, now that we've seen Raw, it also makes no sense. Like,
it was totally unneeded.
Like, it makes no sense. Like, maybe they should have just let him talk and explain what he's going to do on Monday when he actually sees Cena face to face. And you know what? To quote, Uncle Dave, things change. And it seems that the direction of the angle might have changed, because it looked like Cody, the fact that Miz TV started, Cody just hit him with the Cody cutter, took him out, and was kind of like, I don't feel like talking, and left.
Although he was there long enough, and storyline wise, it does make sense, because he did call out Cena. He was like, you've got to be there. Yeah. So that call out, in theory, is what prompted Cena to show up.
So do you think that the attack on the Miz, or taking out the Miz, was more because Miz was interrupting, or Miz was insulting? Or I took it at my lens, I took it as he can't wait to get his hands on Cena. But then, as we know, Tuesday after Raw, he just wanted to talk to Cena, or find out, maybe he's dialed in like the fans. He's like, what is Cena gonna say?
What's he gonna say? I think it was shutting up the annoying guy in Miz, which Miz plays that role perfectly.
Well. Yep,
he always has. That's what got him in the business.
which is cool. So, what are your thoughts on this, Derek?
So I just want to go back real quick just to that
Sure, go
BFAB
ahead.
match. I feel like she held her own, especially in the beginning of that match.
I think this is
So,
probably the best we've seen from BFAB.
yeah, for sure.
I think this was the strongest match that she's had to date. Unfortunately, it
Again,
also
against
kind of
Charlotte,
showed.
though.
Well, and that's when you have somebody like Charlotte. You know, they always said about our dad, he could wrestle a mop and it would still be a great match.
Mhm.
She's kind of starting to take that role in the women's division,
Mhm.
and that's obviously
It's
how you
elevating
get
talent.
good matches out of talent that are still developing. At
Yeah.
that same time, the smoothness of Charlotte, you could definitely see the work that BFAB is still needing to put in to kind of get to that level. But
Oh, yeah.
you get to that level by working with the greats. So I
Yes,
think it
for
was the right
sure.
choice.
For sure. Me going back to that Miz segment, I think my best part of that was I'm the captain now by Cody.
Yeah.
Like the best part of the whole thing. He didn't have to say anything else. He could have just said, "Look at me," had them zoom in. I mean, like on his face, and just be like, "I'm the captain," and just drop the mic and leave. But he gotta have a suit with a little chain. I need that though. Yeah. I don't
So
know what it's for, but I like it.
I think the very next match segment was low-key the most interesting. It piqued my interest out of a lot of what happened, like Shinsuke Nakamura versus Damian Priest. Damian wins by DQ because, of course, Drew McIntyre and him are gonna pretty much push their feud to the point that the fans are gonna be rabid. I think they're doing a good job.
Mhm.
And we're already seen this with Drew. Drew can make a feud out of anything. Like, I don't know if you guys remember WrestleMania 2 years ago when they kind of like put over Gunther. It was Drew, it was Sheamus, and then Gunther. It was kind of like that whole triple threat was built off the back of the fact that Drew and Sheamus hated each other.
Right.
And I think they're kind of doing the same thing with Priest and Drew, where they're both getting vicious attacks on each other. Now, the interesting part about this was the look that Nakamura and Drew gave each other, and then Nakamura didn't help him, but he joined in on the beating down Damian Priest party,
Right.
which was kind of cool. Like, you know, I like it because they could tease it. It kind of is like, you know, and it could be a wink, wink, nudge, nudge at the crowd. Like, yeah, you know, Nakamura ain't going nowhere. It could be something to convince him to stay. Who knows? You know, I'm not an insider. This is just a fan speculation. But yeah, and then of course we get the match of the week that was advertised all week, which is Carmelo Hayes versus Randy Orton. Orton wins. Hits, of course, an amazing finisher. Carmelo looks great in his loss, but he loses again. But I think the difference between the previous loss and this, he's with a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Like, I think a feud between Hayes and Orton, or them interacting in multiple matches, can only elevate Carmelo Hayes' stock. People forget as fans, and I am a person that I'm guilty of this at times, is that how come this person doesn't win? How come it doesn't win? Because if a person has so much success at first and then they start losing, then you're gonna start, you know, the wins in the beginning are not gonna matter. Like, he came in with a hot feud versus Andrade, and that kind of established him as a hand, as somebody that's reliable. And then he had run-ins with Cody because, you know, he's still heel. I think interactions like this will get him over the level because, you know, something like this can lead to a pay-per-view down the line versus somebody like Damian Priest versus somebody like, you know, I think the program with the Miz is going to eventually end up going one-on-one. And say what you want about the Miz knows how to get people over. And I think it'll work. And then we had Gunther versus Axiom, which was pretty much Spain fan service because Axiom, you know, he's from Spain. I forgot. I believe his what was Axiom's previous name? Hold on. Axiom WWE.
While you're looking for that, while I agree that while, you know, the early wins, do they mean as much if you go on a losing streak afterwards? But I'm at the point that I need to see Carmelo get some shine. Like, you've got to give him something, because at this point he's just becoming enhancement talent.
Well,
Yeah,
you got to think about it. When he first got on the scene, he was enhancement talent in NXT. Like he
Right.
he didn't become Carmelo Melo don't miss until like the last year and a half of his run in NXT, and it took the right partner, which was Trick Williams, for him to get him over that. Like, you know what
No,
I mean? Like,
see, I think he got over before then, because even before
no,
he's
but I mean,
Melo
like,
don't
in order
miss,
for him to get the heel over him, like, you need a
and I
foil.
don't even want him as a heel. I thought he was fantastic as a face. I'd love to see like face Melo come back, like when him and Trick were together. That was incredibly entertaining. The matches were fantastic. I loved it.
Maybe they interact, and when Trick will get his eventual call up. I think he's almost there. He's at the cusp. I wouldn't rush him. He
No,
doesn't have
please
to
don't.
be he doesn't have to be a Mania call up. It could be something during the summer when they start actually giving call ups time to breathe. I kind of want to trust the process of Melo, because one of the greatest wrestlers of his stature is Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, when I equate when he left the tag team scene and became a singles wrestler. Yeah, he won the IC title, but he was used to put over up and coming faces. You know what I mean? Like, he was like the stopgap, and then he finally got his push, and then he got his face turn and all that stuff. But you had to live through the early '90s to get '96 Shawn Michaels. So, and then eventually the 2000s Shawn Michaels. So I have patience, especially he's young. Now, if Hayes was like LA Knight's age or something like that, then I'm like, okay. But I believe, if I'm not wrong, he's still in his early 30s, maybe late 20s. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, he's younger,
So,
which is not a
yeah.
bad thing.
And then the Gunther Axiom. So Axiom was a kid, which was a huge superstar in the UK independent scene, and he hailed out of Spain. So that was a good homecoming. Like, WWE did not have to do that, because I'm sure they're not taping NXT in Spain. They just like really like they know their crowd and their fan base. They're like, this will get a pop, even though Gunther beat him, but it was still like they got to see their guy.
And
Like,
speaking of something that we probably should have mentioned earlier, as we keep seeing with the overseas crowd, the crowd was absolutely fantastic. So incredibly hot. Overall, and we haven't even gotten to the end of it, but overall, I thought SmackDown was a decent show. Leading into Mania, we've got a month left to go. I thought it was one of the weaker ones that we've had recently, but that crowd made it feel like a better experience. And
yeah.
it's amazing what a hot crowd can do for a show.
And of course, the main event was DIY versus Street Profits. WWE Papa H did the right call. Street Profits finally get the gold. Although
Finally.
they made it seem in the video package that they've been searching. It's like, no, they've been getting lame duck pushes, which means that they'll get pushed and then they pushed, and then they get pushed and then de-pushed. And it's like, they're victims of a storyline. Like, they try to get them away from the Street Profits, Red Solo Cup thing, which I loved. I thought they should have gotten the titles then.
They should have.
Like, and they did, but I think when they initially were getting the title shots, I think they should have won then. But they didn't. But I also like this iteration getting it, because although they're heels, it felt well deserved, and the emotion that they showed was genuine. And I think this proves that we're marching into a very important multi-team title match at WrestleMania, which is kind of the shot in the arm tag team divisions need, because now I'm bought in, because I feel like, okay, the first domino fell, but I feel like this title could hot potato a few times and keep this program going.
I would like to see the Profits keep it for a bit. I think it's good for them. I think they've earned it. Shout out to Austin Creed, Xavier Woods, as soon as they won, going on all the socials and being like, it's about time you won. I've been giving you advice for the last 10 years.
That's funny. And then this brings us to Raw, which is a show yesterday. It was dope that we were able to watch Raw in the middle of our work day. You know, sorry for everybody that's employed and work through and had to deal with their employees watching on their phones or whatever, or people like us, meeting on Twitch and talking about it, which is cool. That's the awesomeness of having the type of schedule that we have all collectively.
Yes.
So I really love, like, whoever put together the top-down format of Raw is very smart. They're like, we don't have to worry about ratings in terms of like segments or whatever. Like, we're putting this out live, so people are going to watch it. Let's get it out. Let's make sure that the engagement is out there, and people, like, I'm pretty sure that they probably had people watch this after it was live more than they did live, for number one, the time, and number two, all the social media posts from this that people probably like, wait, I got to see this now.
Yes.
Cena came out, gave a fantastic promo, and kind of gives us the Black Panther discussion was like, is he right? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. Like, if you guys remember the evil character in Black Panther,
came out with the
Killmonger.
Killmonger.
He did.
Yeah, and it was like, oh shit, he's not wrong. Like, Q in what's it called? Falcon, when he's like, he's not wrong. I mean, he's not wrong, but I don't like the way he said it.
He's out of line, but he's not wrong.
He's not, yeah. No, he's out of line, but he's right.
Yeah, that's right.
So basically, at first I was like, what the hell? But then, like, I bought in. And it tied it in with just the verbiage that he said, he's not changing. He doesn't dress like us. We dress like him. And I was like, I see what you're doing here.
And I loved, because everybody expected this huge change. It's heel Cena. What are we going to see? Is it going to be Dr. Thugonomics? Is he going to come in like a corporate attire? No, he came out. He was still John Cena. He changed.
And then it's like, people like,
but we wanted it.
So no, I know we wanted it.
No,
think about how many true heels there are out there.
Oh yeah,
there's none. There people are hating him for the fact that he didn't change his character. They hate him, and I think that's important. That's key. He's gonna be
more
booed.
hate.
Touche.
Like, you know what I mean? Like this is 2025. People love a good bad guy. Like, like, I mean, we all love Roman Reigns. I think Dom is an example of person that has that doesn't have like go away heat, which is like get off my TV, but has like the crowd is like they're engaged. Like, he needs to be a part of the show. There's a reason why he comes out in tag matches and segments, because people are like, oh, this is the part of the show that I gotta boo because everybody's doing this. Is so fun.
Yeah,
like,
he's there because it elicits reaction, and it's not, oh man, this is terrible, get him out of here. It's, oh man, this is the guy that I want to hate.
And
I mean, y'all are both right. So,
and it's a control thing. It's a control thing because they won't have like Cena sucks, let's go Cena chants in the middle of him and Cody thing. It's gonna be let's go Cody, Cena sucks, where the crowd is gonna be fully behind Cody. And if you guys, unless the US crowd disappoint us, which you never know. Yesterday the crowd followed the script. They followed the script to a T. Cody gave us an arena shaking pop when he came out, when the bass dropped on his music, to the point that Cody didn't even need to have a physical beatdown. I assure you that if this happened in Philadelphia, Cody would have had to put that man through a table and like draw blood in order for the crowd to be like, oh.
The crowd for Monday Night Raw took it a step further than what we saw on SmackDown. They were hands down the hottest crowd since the pay-per-view in France. And I won't be surprised at all if we see WWE release a clip of, here's a camera bouncing, like we saw with AJ Styles.
Yep.
Because when they were doing the let's go Cena sucks, it was deafening. And when Cody came out, everyone singing, you almost couldn't hear
the announcers,
the piped audio. You couldn't hear the actual music because they were so loud over top of it.
Yep.
It's great.
It was good. And so, anything we missed on that segment, Derek?
Nothing that I can think of. I mean, like y'all both said, John Cena gave an amazing promo. It just still tickles me, that little pan over to that one child. He was like, that boy right there.
Yo, shout out
was
to the
a
cameramen and the producers that are like,
flash.
they're looking at the B footage and they're like, there it is. That's our guy. It happened with
our
the
guy.
Undertaker guy. It
Whew.
happened with the Brock Lesnar guy. It's like, yep,
Yes.
that kid right there, the Miz girl. They always find that fan at the right time. That's good television production right there.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's when the pros come in. And I don't think we can leave out, the fact that Cody once again shows censor be damned. He doesn't want whiny little bitch Cena. He wants original Cena to come out there at WrestleMania.
And then, like, this is the only part. If I can nitpick for a little bit, this is the only part that I kind of was like, what's going on? It's like I felt like he wants a competitive challenge. I thought they were pushing this as a blood feud. I think it's kind of leaning in that Cody really hates The Rock and kind of like sees Cena as the tool that's being used against him. So he kind of like, I don't understand why you're doing this. I really hate you, but my full anger is towards the final boss because this is the only reason you're doing this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's
so,
and that's kind of what it is. He couldn't have Cody, so he got John, and they are the tools.
Yeah. And I like it. And then, of course, you have an amazing promo segment. You got to give us good wrestling. And they followed that up with Ludwig Kaiser versus Penta, which delivered. Penta, I don't know what it is, man. He oozes Riz, as the young kids say. And he's just good. Like, even from the after-match promo that he delivered it, and it comes out passionate. He's not, like, even though English is not his first language, he's delivering passion promos instead of having a mouthpiece talk about him. He's like, no, I'm gonna put myself over. And then at the end, the crowd was engaged because they're waiting for his end of his promo, which is like, I'm Penta, cero miedo. And so they're like, we don't even need to fully understand what he's saying, but we're ready.
We're ready for that part.
We're ready for that part. And, and he made it known that he wants to go for the IC title, and then they use him. And then I called it out yesterday. My man ended this Raw with a segment. Like, you know what I mean? He was in the main event segment of Monday Night Raw internationally, and it wasn't in Mexico. You know what I mean? It wasn't in Barcelona. It was in a European country that he probably doesn't understand the language that he speaks natively there.
Right.
But he killed it. And this is good booking. They don't necessarily have to give us that right now, but the fact that they're acknowledging, whereas, like, a lot of times in wrestling is like, oh, this champ doesn't exist. Like, I don't even know. Like, there was a lot of people that was like Roman Reigns could be standing next to them and they'll be like, I want that belt over there. And it's like, what? There's a whole guy right there. Like,
there. Why don't you just take that one?
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I don't know who that guy is. I don't have the license. I can't unlock this feature of the game yet. Like, you know what I mean? So,
but I really liked where that segment led to, and we cut to Judgment Day. Finn comes in and is like, hey, I've got that match tonight. Thank you so much, Dom. You're great. Can't believe you got this for me. And Dom was like, yeah, about that. I think I've got the perfect new member. I've got exactly who we need. We need Penta. And Finn is like, what the? No, I'm going to get the IC title. And he wants the IC title. Why would you even recommend that? Finn storms out. Pan over. Carlito says, bro, do you even watch the show?
And it's like, it's funny because it's like, then we kind of joke, like, who next week he's gonna suggest, like, you know what, Damian Priest. It's like, bro, what? Like,
what are you talking about?
Like, what are you talking about? And I think Dom is just pure gold, as Rand says. When he turns face, it's gonna feed families, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I legit believe he's a young legend in the making. And he could do it legit. He could do it chicken shit or heel, but I think he has the means to do it. And I like it. I like what they're giving us. And then we
when it's time, I was completely wrong with him. When he first came in, I was like, Nepo hire, like we don't need this. He's not good in the ring. He can't be on the mic. Everything he's done has elevated since that point. He's one of the reasons to tune in every week.
For sure. Pence has been getting a lot of mic time though, right?
I love it. I love it.
More so than we ever expected.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, we're gonna have to, like, we literally were like, oh, they're gonna have to give him a mouthpiece. Like, is it gonna be Selena? Is it gonna be Andrade? Is it gonna be no? It's like, no, Orale Holmes, like whatever, you know. Like, I love that a Latino is killing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like accent and all, I love it. He's like, it's like Penta, I want the IC championship, and I was like, I love it. Give me more of that. And what was missing from the show was what we kind of feel is the Ray Phoenix plug that we got on SmackDown a couple days before. No running of that. So maybe they're going to keep the Lucha Bros separate.
But we got that number 4 mystery promo. Like I was telling you before, I think that's Aleister Black. I'm just saying. I
think that's the worst kept secret on the internet, unless they're going to swerve us so hard. And it's like just a repackaged wrestler as Goldust. Not even Dustin Rhodes, is just a dude that's 5'8", like 350 pounds. He's like, I'm Goldust now, like, you know, random dude. But and then we get another women's match. I think they're getting there into giving legitimacy to this. I know WWE has had a history of pushing women hard, and then they kind of fall off, and then when they get called out on it, then they start pushing it hard. Like the bringing in, you know, the US title and the IC title for women was amazing, but then it's kind of like they moved away from it. So we kind of get the whole match that it's kind of still a faction war. We get American Made being chased away by Mysterio, Dragon Lee, which is kind of weird because Kai is not really affiliated with them, but I guess there's like enemy of my enemy is my friend. And then, you know, it's good to see Dakota Kai win.
Always
definitely a short match. Like,
yeah. But I felt like it was being rushed for TV purposes. Maybe the venue was like, hey, you got to get out at a certain time. And they had a dark match to get to and all this stuff. And it kind of like they took away 10 minutes of time that we usually get on Monday Night Raw. Like, I know it's like 2:30, 2:31 hours in that we get, but it was like a smooth like 2:18 or something. So they took like 12 minutes off of what we normally get. That's a whole segment or a match.
Yeah.
And then we get the Jay versus Austin Theory. Very quick
talk
match.
About a short match. Literally, I looked away. It was over.
Yeah, very quick squash win, which was a good thing. Gunther comes out. Jay manages to mess with him. But before that, the segment that has exploded on the internet was, I guess it was Jay's excitement.
Oh,
yeah, he pulled the top dollar. He got his feet, but he didn't miss him. It was just let's just say he had a little bit of difficulty. It happens, you know. It's live TV. It's bound to happen. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but when it happens to a big name like that, that's when the internet loves to pounce.
For sure.
I mean, when that happens on live television and your whole thing is to make sure that doesn't happen, I definitely understand. But at the exact same time, I think there's got to be some grace. I mean,
yeah, it's not like he has a history of doing this.
Yeah, every other sport, you can make a mistake. Like basketball, you get a turnover. Football, you throw a pick, and you know you're upset for a minute, but it's fine. Wrestling, you make a mistake, and it's botchmania. It's all over every single social. It takes over the internet for days and weeks.
Yeah, and then so you know him and Gunther tumble. You know, they kind of like wrestle around, and then he ended up with the belt in his hand. And like I commented yesterday during our stream, it looks great for him to have it in hand. It looked like foreshadowing, and you know, Gunther looked concerned, which I like that. Like, I like a vulnerable Gunther. Like, Like,
I don't know if I like the vulnerable Gunther. I think I would have preferred to see him immediately like step back in and try and get it and have Jay just kind of keep it away and have them end up face to face. I think that kind of gives some more credence to it. And if it goes to where we think it's going to go with Jay winning, I think that builds it as a stronger win for Jay instead of I've got him shook now because I was able to get the belt away from him. I think I would have liked it more if Gunther immediately like just jumped back in the ring, got face to face, and was like, "Give me the belt," and Jay just kept going behind him, and that ended up with them face to face, and then everybody has to break them up.
What about you, Derek? What did you think about that segment? I personally saw it as Gunther not ever seeing this being happening, and him like glancing up with like, "Holy shit, this might be my view of Mania." You know,
I mean, all right, so. First off, Jay hitting them ropes was a little saddening because you never want to see that happening. He should have went through the
it didn't look like it was I think it was a missed time. Like he does it so often that it's just like, damn.
If you look at where he hit like mid thigh. He didn't hit his feet. Like even the clip that they paired it with, he hit waist. That was waistline. Okay. I'm not even gonna drop his name because I mess with him. He hit like waistline and tumbled down.
Nah, he's the man. He's a friend of the.
He's a friend of the show. We're all down with him. That's not what we remember him for.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But yeah, hitting that mid thigh. I'm just glad he didn't get hurt because he definitely hit like the back of his neck, shoulder area, head, everything. So that's really good. As far as the little entanglement with Gunther, the snatching the belt off was classic. I don't know if he should have played keep away, maybe like a dip out the ring, and you know what I'm saying, stand on the announce table,
and then do the pose, and then be like yeet, and then throw it on the floor. Like
see that I would have liked. That I would have liked.
Yes. So that I feel like that would have been classic. Versus just tossing it to him afterwards. Like, yeah. But I mean, it was very good. I'm glad he didn't get choked out because I'm like, bro, stop hoeing Jay, man. Like, come on. Like this dude went toe to toe with Roman.
You giving them adversity. I think one of the best booked matches for Brock was when, unfortunately, there were other bigger matches on the card, was when Seth beat Brock at WrestleMania for the belt.
Brock's curve stomps.
Yeah, they booked him so that it was like, oh man, here we go. Brock is gonna win, or like somebody's gonna come in and interfere. But no, he beat him clean because he showed heart, and it's like that's why Seth is at the stratosphere that he's at right now because they're like you can believe that Roman hates and fears Seth in a way because he's like, shit, he could beat me. Like, you're like, even though he only faced him like what twice during his tribal chief run, and they were always on different shows. But I think if they would have had a proper feud, like went on months, he would have dethroned them. Like if they were on the same show and they were like, booked a lot more together. But yeah, and then of course we got the further along the LWO Creed brothers storyline. They had a great match. Interference, where the luchador that is definitely not Chad Gable appeared. I wonder where they're going with this. LWO gets to win. It's good to see Dragon Lee. We're getting three luchadors that are masked up. 4 if you count the not Chad Gable, like mixing it up. Like this is 2025. I love this.
I for one can't wait to see who this masked luchador is.
You think they're gonna swerve us?
I would love it if they do. Absolutely love it if they do.
It would be entertaining. It'd be very
have the masked luchador show up as Chad Gable is giving an interview in the back,
and then have him unmask and be somebody else. Could it be a call up from NXT? Somebody like, but it has to be somebody that's similarly built like him.
They would have to join American Made though.
Yeah, of course. You get Braun Breaker versus Finn Balor. It was a great back and forth match. Like And then you know that the match, something was going to happen when Judgment Day comes out. And back in the day, 2 years ago, when Judgment Day comes out, you were like, okay, so Finn is going to win the belt.
Yep.
Now it's like, something's going to further mess them up. I think the only person that benefits from Judgment Day interference as of late is what's it called? The ladies, when Dom comes out.
Liv and Raquel.
Yeah, when Liv and Raquel come out. But anytime any of the men come out to interfere, it's like it's a tried and true formula. Like that's why Damian Priest left. Yeah,
Stay in the
it's
back,
like
leave me alone.
Yeah, and when it's like, no, this whole I'm gonna help you, like I
Priest
know
did it
better,
too.
even though you asked me to.
Didn't Priest do it too to Finn?
Yeah,
when Priest was Senior Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it is what it is. I like where this is going. I kind of don't know what happens to Finn from here. Like maybe they'll take one of these Raws in the next 4 that we have leading up to Mania, and then they finally, either give us a Dom Finn match, which I think will be interesting. Or you have a third party coming in. I personally want to see a Dom Finn match, but I think Dom is not ready to go face yet. I think you cement his heeldom. Like you have Finn, and then him getting kicked out would probably be the best bet. And then of course, Raw comes to an end when Judgment Day start to beat down Braun, and Penta comes out for the save. Kind of confrontation, and that's how we close out. Like I said earlier, it's amazing to see these two young in their WWE careers. I know Braun is way younger than Penta, but they're both new to the product, so it's good. That means that the future, we have a lot of building blocks. In the last 10 years, we wouldn't see that. Like either the building block will leave, or a lot of them will wash out. Like, we came from an era that gave us Roman, Seth, and a couple others, but a lot were like other aging stars from different eras. Like, I don't know who else can we say. Like Gunther is just an undeniable talent, but from the Seth and Roman era, from the Shield era, who's really left? Like Moxley left. There isn't really no talent from that particular time frame.
I mean, that time frame also had Sammy and KO, and
no, that came years later. This is towards the end of Punk's reign that they came back. Like the only people that really debuted after that are the NXT guys. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like before NXT became black and gold NXT, there's not a lot of people that were prominent at that end. So I think they're like in a class all their own right now. Unless Moxley comes back and becomes Dean Ambrose / Dean Moxley. I don't know.
Dean Moxley.
But now we have several people that are a part of this new wave. We have Penta, we have Braun, we have Bronson Reed, we have Jacob Fatu, we have Dom, we have DP. You know what I mean? We have a bunch of people that are like, all right, if we want to do them, like, 10 years ago or not 5 years ago, Cena retiring would have been like, oof, what are they going to do?
Facts.
Yeah. Like, but now it's like, they kind of slowly, whether it's by his success in Hollywood, they've been, kind of preparing themselves. And now this farewell tour is meaningful. And I think John is one of those rare people that it's like, I'm going to retire and this is going to be it. Like I think he'll come back and do the occasional match, but I don't think we're going to get, Christmas time Cena.
I don't think he's going to do that.
You don't think so?
I think he's really going to be done.
Like, has he verbally said that I'm retiring from in-ring competition?
Yes. He said he'll be a suit. He'll still be in the WWE. He'll be a suit. Okay. But being in the ring, this is it. Like that Michael Jackson tour. It's over. Just hopefully never mind. I'm not going there.
Let's let that man cook. So this basically like wraps up this entire week's of wrestling. Like anything that I missed, anything you guys want to add to, like talk to me, holler at me.
Anything that you missed? No, I think you hit everything on the head, bro. As far as this whole week has went down. I do want to see what you guys' Mount Rushmore is as far as entrance themes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, had a first ever viewer request, right?
Yeah.
So Derek, this is your show. Why don't you start off? Why don't you tell?
Not my show. Oh Lord. All right. So my top 4 entrance themes. I gotta go New Day. Okay. I'll even take it old
That's
school.
A shocker.
And you already know. Come on now, y'all knew this was coming. But I'll take it old school and go Preacher vibes when they had like the
choir.
Yeah, that
full choir coming out and everything.
I'm from the South, so that just hit home a little bit. Let's see. Outside of that, who's really popped for me? I'm not the biggest Seth fan, but Seth Rollins be dope.
Which one?
I like his current one. Because like being at a show, especially like a pay-per-view, like you feel the flames when the pyro's going off above the ring, everybody's singing like it's loud. It's crazy. 3 will have to be Jay Uso coming out the crowd, coming out in general. With his solo song now that he broke off of with his brother.
See, I think I would have had to give that nod to the Uso Penitentiary.
Ooh. See, I'm thinking of the ones outside of the New Day ones. I'm thinking of the ones I've seen live. Like I've been there.
Hey, it's your Mount Rushmore. Don't let
Mount Rushmore.
But no, I respect that one though. As that last one, man, The Rock. Like
which one?
Ooh,
which one?
Jesus, that's hard.
Because I have a thought on this, and you probably never even heard it.
Whatever, bro. I know The Rock. Okay. If I had to go, because I feel like
I'll give you time to think, and I'll add in mine.
Go ahead. Yeah.
My favorite Rock theme was Hollywood Rock. When it had the fly over LA, and then it hit the "It's cooking," and then it dropped. I was like, do I know that? I see. I told you wouldn't know it.
Hollywood Rock. It's when Rock came back from doing Walking Tall.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Well, he was wearing the black vest Rock.
Okay.
And black leather pants Rock.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
But that intro, it had this helicopter flyover of
I just
LA.
don't remember the intro. I remember him.
And then right before his music hit, and it was the first time it got that like true like evil twist to it. It hit "It's cooking." That was just fire.
It's basically when he first came back as the final boss, the first time that they played it.
Yep.
That's the theme that they used when he first came back as final boss, when they were like, all right, he's gonna be heel. That was the theme that they played, I believe, in the first Raw, but then it eventually got to what we got. And I'm not gonna acknowledge the one that he now fuses with hip hop. I'm talking about the final boss theme. But
yeah.
So Shane, you said one. What position? It doesn't matter because it's yeah, go ahead. You got 3 more, buddy.
Are you going all 3, or you want me to jump in?
No, it's 4. I think isn't it 4?
I mean, 4. I did say The Rock. The Rock was my last one.
Yeah.
Oh, Rock's your last. All right.
Yeah.
So this is tough because I've been around a minute, and there's been some absolute bangers out there.
I mean, you are old, so there's that.
Yes, I fully admit that I am old. I've been around for way too long. Hell, I grew up running around in rings, helping put them up at 7 years old. But I think now, one, I might have to give an honorable mention. Rhea's is really, really grown on me.
My brutality.
Yeah, the way that hits.
Do you put your leg up that high when it comes on?
I mean, I could, but I choose not to for everyone's sake. But I think if I have to, I think the first one that I truly put on there, that Zack Ryder radio. We mentioned him earlier. This is the second time we're getting a Zack Ryder shout out on the show today. That Zack Ryder radio was fantastic. I'll still listen to it today. I listen to it when I'm working out. It's fantastic. That's another one that Derek probably doesn't know.
I know Zack Ryder's. I just thought of an honorable.
Come on. You got two more. You got two more. Because you named The Rock, or you did not name The Rock.
Oh, I didn't. That was just my personal favorite of.
Okay,
The Rock.
you got three more. Like, come on, let's keep them going.
What you got?
Don't look him up.
Oh no, I'm not looking him up. Second favorite, that's going up there. Billy and Chuck, you look so good to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You kind of got a theme going, but okay, go ahead.
They do kind of go together, and that's kind of what I was debating. Is do I want to put both of those up there? But they're both fantastic. I think AJ Styles with the Southern Boy Farmer Strength is another fantastic.
Okay.
And then I think I'd have to go with Romans.
Okay. The OG or the remix?
Which Roman?
The OG. Before we got the remix, before it started going crazy. And I'll say, in the beginning, I was like, I don't know if I'm here for this. And then
it grew on you.
Growing, and you talked about seeing it live. Seeing that live was ridiculous, especially when the entire bloodline was coming in, and they had all the belts, and that's when they had both tag team belts.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yep. All right, I can go quickly through mine. Number one, the first one that goes on there, the glass crashing, Stone Cold, the OG Stone Cold. Nothing gets better than that, bro.
Touche.
Nothing gets better than that. And then I'm gonna follow it up. Like I'm gonna follow it up with like dun, 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 the original Bret Hart theme song when the Titantron used to be like Bret, and then he turned around and then they start playing it, and then of course I had to put HBK. Sure, I think I'm cute. Of course, that is, and then the last one that I'm gonna put up, and this one is it was a tough one. It's gonna be Kurt Angle. I had to go old school.
Oh, you old school.
Like like come on now, like these
you suck in there, or
yeah,
you suck at it in,
but it was never part of the song.
That's just added. The crowd.
There's been some with it in there. There's been some release that it's in there,
but like think about it. Like I think about it. Like my requirements for Mount Rushmore is how do I feel does it elicit an immediate reaction? Like any four of those themes right now would like have me jumping off my seat in any of the big four. You know what I mean?
I can agree with that. Yeah.
And then of course there's gonna be some runner-ups. I'm gonna give you two runner-ups because those were bangers. It's gonna be the American Badass. Keep rolling. Okay. That one.
He's a Limp Bizkit fan, everybody.
And then no, I liked it because of Taker. And then of course, the fact that we got this era that we're having now, you got to give props to the Triple H. It's time to play the game. Like it's time to play the game. Like with the laughing track and everything, like when he first turned heel, when he debuted his new body, pause, like you know what I mean, like, like that was it. So that's basically it. So for those of you that listen, comment, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what is your top or Mount Rushmore. You give us a top 5, something even, whatever. So
we could go on for 50.
Yeah, because I definitely had an honorable mention for sure.
What was your
So,
honorable
guys,
mention?
It
Go
was
ahead.
it was Swerve, AEW.
Okay.
The
I can
crowd be
see it.
going off and they be dancing off beat at them AEW shows.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, there's Edge with Metalingus,
Mhm.
Cody for that matter. We want to
mean,
talk
yeah,
about
I'm surprised no one
elicit
said
something
Cody.
from live. Absolutely. If I had to change it up, I think I would probably take out Billy and Chuck and add in the Brood.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a banger.
Just because Billy and Chuck and Radio are so close, I think I
Yeah.
would take one of those out and put on the Brood.
Okay, touche.
That's why we don't have time to think about it. You just go with what feels right.
Go with the flow.
Yeah. But so, guys, we're back to work Friday. Friday, excuse me. NXT has I
The show
believe
tonight.
a show tonight.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what's on that card, but if anything dope happens, which I assume that always something dope happens, we'll talk about it. We'll be talking about daytime SmackDown, followed up by daytime Raw. SmackDown will probably get a little bit jump on everybody, and daytime Raw, I believe it's a social. Everybody has access, can watch it. So
Yeah.
look forward. Another good week of wrestling, guys, in the books. So once again, this is Bumps and Bruises. This is Marcos, aka at the Sunset Kid. You can find me on socials and in other fine podcasts. Derek, Shane, tell them where they can find you guys.
You can find me at Lock Stallion on Instagram. Don't forget to go follow the Instagram page, Bumps in Bruises.
That's
Pod.
the letter N.
The letter N, yes, Bruises Pod on Instagram. Go check that out.
What about you, Shane?
You can find me at Drizzen13 on X and at Drizzen on Instagram.
All right. Until next time, thank you for joining us.